When I was young in the mountains. We're going to stop. Hello, it's Grandma Nancy. I've got dogs walking around and cats walking around. It's kind of crazy here. When I Was Young in the Mountains by Cynthia Rylant, illustrated by Diane Goode. This one won a Caldecott Honor Medal and is a Reading Rainbow book, which means whenever you see these, that usually they're a pretty good book. When I Was Young in the Mountains, the title page. There's their house in the woods. There's some stuff inside the house. Do we have any of those things? When I was young in the mountains, Grandfather came home in the evening covered with the black dust of a coal mine. Only his lips were clean, and he used them to kiss the top of my head. The little boy has a wash basin for the grandpa to clean. When I was young in the mountains, Grandmother spread the table with hot cornbread, pinto beans, and fried okra. Have you ever had any of those things? Later, in the middle of the night, she walked through the grass with me to the Johnny house and held my hand in the dark. And I promised never to eat more than one serving of okra again. She had to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, only they didn't have a bathroom inside their house. They had to go out to what she called the Johnny house, or an outhouse, and that's where they went potty. I am glad I have a bathroom inside my house. When I was young in the mountains, we walked across the cow pasture and through the woods carrying our towels. The swimming hole was dark and muddy, and we sometimes saw snakes, but we jumped right in anyway. That would be fun. Swimming in a lake. On our way home, we stopped at Mr. Crawford's for a mound of white butter. Mr. Crawford and Mrs. Crawford looked alike and always smelled of sweet milk. Looks like they had the grocery store, and I bet they had a cow. And that's why they smelled like milk. What do you see in their store? Just her and her little brother. When I was young in the mountains, we pumped pails of water from the well at the bottom of the hill and heated the water to fill round tin tubs for our baths. They had to use a pump. You push up and pull back down on that thing she's holding on to, the lever, and it would make the water come out. They did not have a faucet in their house. How many pails do you see? I see 1, 2, 3. Afterward, we stood in front of the old black stove, shivering and giggling while Grandmother heated cocoa on top. There's their bath. There she is getting dried off, or he is. Well, it looks like their mom, maybe. I can't tell. What do you think? Maybe they live with their grandma and grandpa. When I was young in the mountains, we went to church in the schoolhouse on Sundays, and sometimes walked with the congregation through the cow pasture to the dark swimming hole for baptisms. That's something special that's done in church. My cousin Peter was laid back into the water, and his white shirt stuck to him, and my grandmother cried. I think she cried because she was so happy. Ooh, look at Grandma. When I was young in the mountains, we listened to the frogs sing at dusk and awoke to cowbells outside our windows. Sometimes a black snake came in the yard, and my grandmother would threaten it with a hoe. There's the house, and there's Grandma. Do you see the snake? If that snake didn't go away, she'd get it. She was pretty brave, huh? Oh, I see them up in the window watching. If it did not leave, she used the hoe to kill it. 4 of us once draped a very long snake, dead of course, across our necks for a photograph. This is a guy using a very old camera, and it says N.L. Ellis, Traveling Photography. Because not everybody had cameras. Would you want a dead snake on you? I don't know. When I was young in the mountains, we sat on the porch swing in the evenings, and Grandfather sharpened my pencils with his pocket knife. Grandmother sometimes shelled beans and sometimes braided my hair. The dogs lay around us, and the stars sparkled in the sky. A bobwhite whistled in the forest. Bob, bob, bobwhite. Have you ever heard a bird sound like it's saying, bob, bob, bobwhite? Doesn't sound exactly like that because I'm not a bird. When I was young in the mountains, I never wanted to go to the ocean, and I never wanted to go to the desert. I never wanted to go anywhere else in the world, for I was in the mountains, and that was always enough. She was happy there. The end. I love you. I'll see you next time.